been a busy week in this month, but County Council's agreed to a new unified countywide EMS system. What do people need to know about this, and how soon will that be in place?
It really goes into effect September the 1st, so there's a great deal of work that is taking place to get ready for that. The meeting was last Tuesday. They made that decision. Now it is our job to implement that decision, and we have begun the process by advertising for paramedics. We have received a great number of applications for paramedics. What this is going to do, in essence, is really double the amount of emergency vehicles on the road. A private contractor will handle the basic transport, but what the county will do, will have quick response vehicles, which are things like Tahoes, and they will have paramedics. There are different levels on emergency assistance you can receive. Paramedic is the top, and we will have those stationed pretty much where they are in the county right now. They will be first on the scene, and then if transport is necessary, transport will be right behind there. If it's necessary, the paramedic will ride with the ambulance back to the hospital. But hopefully we're going to greatly improve our response. It was a very difficult decision for council. A lot of nice people work for rescue squads, done a lot of work for a lot of years, but that was the decision council made, and we're going to make sure it's implemented correctly. And like I mentioned earlier, with twice the number of vehicles on the road, and basically in the same locations that they were, and we're in a dead run to make it happen.
Any idea how many paramedics will suddenly become county employees?
One thing the county has when you have county paramedics in a lot of the rescue squads and a lot of places don't have access to the insurance county employees did, and they will also be eligible for a state retirement. Now, lots of squads had 401ks and different arrangements like this, but they will be eligible for state retirement. And another thing that council's instructed us to do, if you've been a paramedic somewhere for 15 years, the council told us to take that into consideration and don't treat people like they just walked in the door and they're rookies. So a lot of moving parts to this, but we're doing what they told us to do.
And there's a couple other things that were sort of lost in that long, lively council meeting. One was council approved recommendation by Councilman Glenn Davis to honor the late Gracie Floyd by renaming the event center at Broadway Lake after her. Several council members who'd worked with Floyd seemed to think she would really have appreciated this honor. And she was instrumental in getting that center out there, right? That
was. Before it was the Gracie Floyd Event Center, it was the Gracie Floyd Event Center. She pushed to have that building built, and Mr. Davis wanted to honor her, and the rest of the council did because it was a unanimous vote. And Mr. Davis contacted the family and requested their permission and support before he did that, and he did that, and then he brought it to council, and like I said, it was unanimous.
And that was something that council could act on without having to get permission for a road or some of the other things that have been from the state, right?
Absolutely, because that's a building, the county owns that building, and they can name that building what they want.
The other thing that seemed to be very quiet in the reporting on that meeting was that council approved working with new and existing companies to add about 150 more jobs with pays from $20 to $29 an hour and about $50 million in capital investment.
There were a lot of economic items on that agenda, and there are a lot more economic development items fixing to happen in Anderson County. We have two really exciting announcements. One that could come any day, plastics company. It's going to be probably about 120 jobs, really well-paying jobs. And another one we're working with is a hydroponic operation, and we're equally excited about that. So that'll be something we don't have, and again, it will help us diversify the economy in Anderson County. But getting back to your EMS thing, there's one key provision in there, the partnership between Anderson County and ANMED. In ANMED, which council approved the other night, a letter of intent, we have to go to formal contract, was $1.4 million to assist with staffing the paramedic program. And that also brings in with it medical control from the hospital, which is going to be key. And some of the things we hope to do relatively quick will be like telemedicine, but you know, telemedicine, you go on there and you tell the doctor it hurts when I do that, and they tell you don't do that. You know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. But we're talking about telehealth capabilities in vehicles where you can actually have an emergency room physician on that screen telling you what to do, how to do it, and they actually know what's coming in before you get there. So there are a lot of new twists and turns in this. Will it be bumpy to get it in shape? Yes, but we will get it in shape.
What's the unemployment rate looking like? I haven't seen
Unemployment rate this month is 4.3, but I'm happy to report that 1,300 additional Anderson County citizens found work last month. When I use numbers, these are not my numbers, but in the last 10 years, the average wage in Anderson County has gone from $13 to almost $21. And council's very excited and happy about that, because that was the intent, that was the mission, that was the purpose, to bring up that average wage up to a higher level. And you do that by working with good companies who pay good salaries, as opposed to just, hey, anybody come on in and we want you here.
And these companies that are paying north of $21, $22 an hour are not having any trouble finding workers, are they?
No, we have some companies paying $35 an hour. They're doing well, but I can promise you this, everybody in Anderson County is looking for workers. Everybody in Anderson County. Just ride down the road. Michelin, they have openings. Electrolux has openings. First Quality has openings. Just about everybody has an opening. Arthrex has a sign up, hiring now. So, you know, this, I keep saying this is the perfect time to get on the ground floor to have a rewarding and successful career. Because these are mainline companies. These aren't fly-by-night companies. Because what they make is almost recession-proof.
Well, we got through the budget. We just had this big issue with EMS. Any huge challenges coming up next for council that people need to look for?
Implementing EMS is going to be a bear, but we're going to get it done. Council told us to do it, so we're going to do that. Integrating all of these new features is going to be important. Staffing up is going to be important, but we also have a lot of challenges, but we also have some projects that council has requested that we do. Councilman Wright is very big on Kid Venture, as well as Councilman Glenn Davis. Kid Venture is about, we have patched hell together and everything, but we're going to be doing a complete rework of Kid Venture. It's going to be about $1 million project. It will be the only ADA playground in Anderson County. The city of Anderson is going to contribute a significant amount of money to make that possible, and we will be using a lot of accommodations tax funds which can be used there. And there are some grant programs that have opened up on the federal level to fund tourism and recreation activities. So we're really excited. Our goal is to have that open, the brand new revamped Kid Venture, by Memorial Day. And we can do that, and we can get that done. And so we're very excited about that. So what?
Finally got a timetable then.
Yeah, but it's going to also expand the size of Kid Venture tremendously. And we're also going to have bathrooms out there. Equally as important is the park revamp we're going to do in Wellington, which is in the Homeland Park area. And we have a major project going in that area, and we're about to get that Wellington Park underway. And we want Memorial Day to be the opening day for that to happen too. Plus, we're also looking for and always finding money for Dolly Cooper Park. As you know, we just unveiled the master plan for Dolly Cooper Park, and also happy to report that we have $400,000 that Representative Wes Cox got to go, that $350,000 he got out of the state budget for more improvements at Dolly Cooper, and $50,000 contribution from New Springs to put a picnic shelter out there. So we're excited about that. All of that stuff is underway now to get that ready to go. The amphitheater out at Green Pond is moving along very well, so we're excited about that. And we're looking for somebody to have the first play at the amphitheater in Green Pond, so I think that will be kind of nice. And who will have the first concert. We're also getting ready for our Celebrate Anderson, which will happen the day before Labor Day, Sunday night. As you know, it's free. I think it's going to be really good this year because we're going to have rides for small children in front of the Civic Center. The cost of that will be nothing. And we're also expecting to have a huge balloon presence, which looks like we're about to pull that together. And John Michael Montgomery will be the headliner. The winner of the United Way's American Idol competition is going to be singing. And as always, the T.L. Hanna Jazz Band will be opening up. So we're hoping to have a full day on Sunday, and maybe even something on Saturday afternoon with the balloons. So we've got that we're working on. And as you know, that's a celebration for everybody in Anderson County. And I forgot to mention we'll have the fireworks and a lot of the traditional stuff, but we'll be doing some tweaking to put a few things into play on that. So we've got that coming up. We have untold number of sewer projects that we're working on, and hopefully we're getting close to some of them, but we've already authorized some projects. We finished the Wellpine sewer project. We're revamping the 5-mile sewer line, which nobody wants to hear about sewer lines, but it's probably the main artery for development in Anderson County. So we have that. We have new people coming in to build new spec buildings. Commercial activity is increasing all across the county, and I'm glad to say that it's getting into all the county areas. So we're busy doing that or assisting in that.
Before we get too far away from the parks, there's 30-something parks in the county.
Yes.
You mentioned some of them.
Yes.
That study that was done last year, did that kind of set the stage for how the parks are being prioritized and what's going to be done at them?
Yes, and another thing that's helping us with that tremendously is that our accommodations tax has rebounded quite well from the recession. I mean, when we had that high school championship fishing tournament, we had 1,200 people in boats. That doesn't count mama, daddy, grandmother, children, everybody. Everything in Anderson was filled up. You could feel the ripple in the economy from all those people there, and you also couldn't get in a restaurant or get a hamburger anywhere. But that feeds that accommodations tax, which has to be used for things that promote tourism and recreation. So yeah, that was a shot in the arm, just like all the other ones are. Doing preparations for having the Bassmaster Classic here, so we've got that coming up. There's so much going on. Still stress this to everybody in Anderson. Anderson County has $6 million to help you catch up on your rent and or electric bills. We have partnered with AIM on that. If you are behind in your rent and your utilities, in a lot of cases we can help you with that money. That money came from the federal government, and we are, as I said, working with AIM to get that out. They're about to lift the eviction stay. And so if you're in that shape, or you know somebody who is, or you talk to somebody, if I see 3 people in a group, I tell them, even if I know that they don't have that problem, but it is so difficult getting that word out, you don't have to be thrown out. And this is just as equally important for landlords. You know,
they don't need a court order to go get help here.
No, you just go to AIM and fill out an application, which is not burdensome. And lots of people qualify, and you don't have to pay it back. So it helps the renters, it helps the landlords, it helps the economy. Lord, we don't need any more homeless people on the streets.
What have you heard about the Shores of Asbury delays trying to get up and running? I understand they're working with DHEC and the U.S.
They work with DHEC, the Corps of Engineers. They've had some stormwater issues, which we have addressed. And so they're still hoping to get open this year. The weather, the rain, has slowed them down tremendously. But as of yesterday, they were still moving forward.
The historic fountain that was in downtown Anderson, then at the museum, has been disassembled, being moved for restoration. I don't guess there's any chance it'd ever come back downtown with it.
There's always a chance of that, but the fountain was about to disappear.
Right.
It was rusted out. It was in horrible, horrible shape. And council knows that's one of the landmarks for Anderson County. And so we contracted with the same people who restored the Hunley. So the fountain was packed up this week. The little cherubs were cradled as they were carried out, and it is now in Charleston in a bath of some type of mixture, so we can bring it back and preserve it for future generations.
And the museum's working on their largest permanent exhibit.
Yes, we're working on Veterans and War, and that's going to be a huge major exhibit honoring veterans in Anderson County from all wars, everything, and it's going to be spectacular. But our museum is spectacular now, and if you haven't been there, I urge you to go. And if you're there, buy something at the museum shop, because that helps operate the museum.
Kind of shifting gears, the South Carolina Senate said they're expecting to have redistricting done by October. I wonder how that'll impact Anderson County.
Redistricting is going to affect everybody. Here's the deal. Every 10 years you redistrict. I mean, Every 10 years you do a census. That's in the Constitution of the United States. It's not like somebody said, why don't we do a census every 10 years? And in every 10 years you redraw the lines. What are some of the possibilities? There's a lot of possibilities because of Anderson's rapid growth. You're going to see changes in county council seats. You're going to see changes in House seats. You're going to be changes in Senate seats in Anderson County. Some districts may actually get smaller. Some may get larger. I mean, Powdersville continues to be the fastest growing spot in upstate South Carolina. And so, you know, with all the number of people there, that district's going to shrink. It has to shrink because they have to be balanced. And you're having the same thing happening in the Pendleton area coming down this way, and the city of Anderson with the growth that's occurring around the city of Anderson and in the city of Anderson. So it's going to be very interesting, but we can't do a doggone thing right now because we don't have census numbers.
I was going to ask you one of those
and
numbers.
Allegedly we will have them in September, which is very, very late for us to do what needs to be done. Because, you know, when you get them, the solution is that they are right then. You really have to work to make it work well. But then, thank goodness, we can just be involved with county council, but the state will have to be involved with all of that other stuff. And it's also going to affect congressional districts. So it should be an interesting year.
Let's talk about infrastructure. Everybody's talking about infrastructure. You mentioned the sewer things and updates. What about road work? Is there somewhere citizens can find out what roads are being worked on?
We put out that information on all the roads that are put out. You can look at our website. You can look at the Anderson Observer. We try to get that information out to everybody. We work closely with DOT, South Carolina Department of Transportation. We work closely with our C-Fund Committee, and we're doing what we can do. But we're also looking at new monies that are coming in from these various programs, these rebuild programs that Congress has passed. We're making sure that we get every bit of money that we're supposed to get, and then if we can steal some from some other people who aren't using it, we'll get that money too.
Has the needle moved on the county square property at all? Are any meetings scheduled? Or
still nothing that is absolutely perfect for that spot, and construction costs right now are so high and there's so few people in construction, we can just tend to be a little more patient.
Would there be a problem with just grassing it over for now?
We're looking at grassing it over right now and just making it a pretty green space for the time being.
Get rid of Plywood Park, so people are starting to call it.
Yeah, get rid of Plywood Park.
Some of the countywide senior programs were put on hold during the pandemic year. Are they all back up and running full?
Most of them are back up full speed ahead, and we're very happy about that. And our special population programs are back full speed. Just about everything is back to normal, and we're keeping an eye on, you know, what's going to happen. Because
I was going to ask you, is there a contingency plan in place? You got boxes of masks and everything ready?
Oh, we got stuff. That we have stuff. It doesn't need to get real again because everything now is going back very well, full speed, so everything's fine.
Construction is visible on the walking track that will eventually reach from the Civic Center to the ANMED Health Campus on 81. A lot of the actual track down toward the Civic Center is being paved. Any idea when they'll start working on the other end of that track?
They've begun doing a little work on the 81 side.
Okay, it'll come out on Connell Springs Road down there. Right?
It'll come out there, and then it'll hook down and go to the elementary school. And we're already, the mayor of Clemson has expressed an interest, and we have expressed an interest. Is it crazy to think about a trail from Clemson to Pendleton to Anderson? I don't think it's crazy. I think that might be a very good project, and the city, when they launch their trail program, and they're doing some of that now, I think that could be a really big tourist generator, and I think it'd be great for our citizens. I mean, you know, you've got the Swamp Rabbit Trail. People forget, when we finish connecting the Civic Center to 81, we're going to have 8 miles of trail. That's a big trail. The people who use it know it's there. The cyclists who use the East-West Park part, they know it's there. But I mean, that's a brilliant start, so why stop there?
And tons of people use the ANMED track already, so if you connected them,
and
people use the Civic Center. You already got people in spots using it.
Yeah, this way they can meet in the middle.
One thing that a lot of people have been talking about lately, and I know I've been talking to people a lot about lately, and I get a lot of questions on the relationship between the Anderson County Fire Commission and county government.
Well, people don't understand that the county has nothing to do with the Anderson County Fire Commission. That fire commission Those members are appointed by the legislative delegation, the House members and the senators. They are completely separate from the county. It's odd. In some places it's like that.
Is that unusual, though, in the state?
It is kind of unusual, but it's not unheard of in South Carolina. But it all happens because a lot of these things were started before home rule. And so that's what you have. And you have the Anderson County Fire Commission, and they work with all the other fire departments, but they don't work with Honeypath because that's funded by the town. You don't have Belton because it's funded by the town. You don't have Williamston because Williamston's funded by the town. So those are not under the Fire Commission rules and regulations, but just every other fire department is.
That's why it's so confusing for people.
It is confusing because we have people that come to us about the Fire Commission, and we said, you need to talk to your legislative representative or the fire commissioners because we really don't have anything to do with that.
And even the maps showing who's covered by what are a little more difficult to find than they should be. If you know where you live, but you don't know which fire department is your fire department, unless you're in the city somewhere, it's confusing.
Yeah, well, the firemen know where the districts are. I promise you that.
If you call 911, they'll tell you if your house is on fire.
Yeah, they'll know. The Fire Commission dispatchers, they know where you are.
And you said a while ago that there's some more economic development news coming. Is it anytime soon, or?
Yeah, I'm expecting one press release today, but I'm probably not going to get it until Monday, and then another one in about, I'd say, 28 days. No, not 28 days, maybe 18 days.
And part of that growth, I know. Councilwoman Cindy Wilson gave a report Monday night about her group. They're trying to encourage growth in the county, not to be high density housing and stuff. We're
conservation subdivisions, and council's been working on this for some time. I think they're getting closer to have a rule, and basically what that does is you leave a lot of green space in its most elemental form, and you have more density with the houses, but they're closer together, but there's a whole lot of green space, and it's something that we hope developers find desirable. There are examples of this. We have one that's going to take place going out 24, going out in that direction. It's going to be based on those principles. So hopefully we'll have something before council to vote on in maybe a month, something like that. But land use is a big issue in Anderson County because everybody's coming here.
And we haven't talked about this in a while, but any movement on getting the monies to clean up the mill site to maybe expand town?
If you would look right now, we have put out a request for proposal for the Equinox mill site. As you know, we bought it from a person who had robbed and pillaged that property and took everything of value. We know there is a lot of interest in that site. We have met with them, but for the sake of fairness, that RFP is on the street, and what we're looking for is somebody to come in and put apartments and houses and green space, and we're going to find somebody who wants to do that, because with the textile mill tax credits and other incentives, developers want to do that. Now, they want to do that because they're going to make money, not because they think it's the greatest thing in the world, but they're going to make money, and if we get a nice development out of it, but Equinox is going to be the first one. As you know, we have finally finished up cleaning up Toxaway, that mill site, and I'm thinking right now the best use that council would see for that would be as a green space, and we would keep it mowed and just let it be a pretty space. If you haven't been down to the Viva site, where all the tires in the United States were,
above and underground.
Above and underground. We really probably have only 5 more dump truck loads of tires. Then we can start filling in that area. And council's plan for that forever in a day is to keep that as a beautiful green space and do away with that eyesore.
Closer to downtown, if we can get the mill site, it's the natural place for a town to grow. I mean, for Anderson to grow.
Oh, I can assure you that the old Abney Mill site has lots of people looking to do development on that site because it's just a natural. And you also have people looking not necessarily on that site but in areas on that site. And I'm talking about national developers with great reputations who are looking to come in here and do something on that. That's why we're doing that with Equinox. And we're also mapping all of the mills in Anderson County and in the towns because we think we can replicate this throughout the county. They're fixing up an old mill in Pendleton right now. and that's going to be absolutely gorgeous. And so we're pushing that as hard and as fast as we can. And they have water and sewer, so you're not looking to put water and sewer there. And you have roads, so they're ideal.
We see here today, it's 125 days until the unofficial lighting of the Anderson County Christmas tree downtown. I just wondered if you have any stats yet on how tall it will be this year.
I think it's already grown at least a foot by now, but with 120 days and Miracle Grow, it's going to get a little bit taller than that.
What day do you perform the annual lighting of the Santa in your office window here in the historic courthouse?
We do that the day when we do the Thanksgiving Christmas tree.
Right.
Santa's in the closet. He's tired of being in the closet, but he will be out. He's ready to go.
And just to clear it up, there's an unofficial tree lighting first for people who are home for Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Then it goes dark.
Yes.
And then on December 3rd this year we light it back up.
And then we have the big celebration.
And the music will be pumped out of the tower here.
Yeah. And the music will be pumping out of the tower, and it will be Christmas music, and everybody will be happy.